Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jeff.
Understandably, inside the bubble, injury information was vague, and that didn't really help us or the fans. But now that the season's over, what specifically can you tell us about Jacob Markstrom's injury, the nature, the severity, and the prognosis? When would he have been able to return to the net?
Well, like the it was like unfit to play. He was hurt. I think if we would have made it past this round, maybe at some point in the next round, there was a chance that he could come back and play. But he was back skating again. But we don't know for sure.
Next up, we have Brendan Batchelor, Sportsnet 650.
Hi, Jim. How pleased were you with the play of Thatcher Demko in the second round series, and how does that change the complexion of your goaltending situation heading into the offseason?
Well, I thought he was excellent in all three games. He gave our team a chance to win each game. Even the last game, like he made a lot of incredible saves. We, like Travis, is a big believer in having two good goalies. With the travel schedule that we have during the regular season, I believe that, we need to have two good goalies. So it was nice, though, to see him get a chance and him rise to the occasion. We've, spent a lot of time with his development as a player, and I know Ian Clark's worked really hard with him. And so for him to come in and see him play that well, I think was good for everybody involved.
Gemma Karsten-Smith, Canadian Press.
Hi there. Jim, I'm wondering if you can talk at all about what this offseason is going to look like, not only for you, but across the league. It's obviously a pretty unprecedented scenario with the flat cap and with limited cash flow. How is that going to impact how you do your work and how your colleagues across the league do their work as well?
Well, we're going to just wait and see now. Like, we're finished. We're going to, this next couple of days, we're going to meet with the coaches, get their thoughts on the season. As a hockey ops group, we're going to meet, talk to all of our people. At some point here, we're going to meet with the ownership and get their thoughts and views, and as to where they want to be going forward. And then, we're going to see what the marketplace is. I've had some calls this morning from other general managers now that we're out. We're going to get a good read, a good feel for, what the marketplace looks like this summer, going into the draft and free agency. And, we'll react to that. Now, having said that, it stings losing out. When you're in, Travis can talk to this too, but when you're in the battle every day and when you do lose out, it stings. And it's still like, you're still a little bit mad but we'll get through that this week. And then, we got a lot of business ahead that we got to tend to. And so we'll get to that here by the end of this week.
Ian McIntyre, Sportsnet.
Hey, guys. Jim, you've been able to spend to the cap when you've wanted to or needed to in your time here. Do you expect that to be the case this upcoming season?
Well, that's a conversation that I'm going to have with the ownership. And, the ownership's been very supportive of us and what we're trying to do to rebuild the team and, to be successful. Our goal is to make the playoffs here going forward and, to keep trying to progress as an organization and as a team. But till I have those conversations with them, I can't really say for sure right now.
Back to Brendan Batchelor.
Hi, Travis. We talked to you after the game the other night, and of course, the emotions are fresh then, and I'm sure you're still disappointed, but with a few days to reflect now, just talk a little bit about the value of the experience that your players gained from this playoff run this year.
Yeah, there is some carryover still emotionally when you're going at it for that amount of time and the intensity level that the players play at, the coaches prepare. So it's still fairly fresh and upsetting that we lost, but it's invaluable experience for what the players have gone through. It's one thing to play 3 or 4 playoff games. It's another thing to play as many as we did and understand the importance, the value of how hard it is to win, at many different levels. Obviously, the play on the ice goes up, the emotional level, the wear and tear on your body, what you have to play through as you go through the playoffs, the grind. It's a lot. And, it's very rare that a team just slips into the playoffs and wins a Stanley Cup that hasn't really played playoff hockey for a while. And I don't know if you've ever seen that, but I'll say it. I said it then. I'll say it now. I'm proud of what our group did. Getting to Game 7 of almost making the semifinals was an accomplishment, but it's also a learning experience and should drive the hunger and the compete level, preparation, gearing up for the years to come.
Jeff Patterson.
Hey, Jim, I know I asked you about Jacob right off the top. I mean, obviously lots of guys play through a lot of things. Are there any other injuries that you can reveal after the fact? And does anybody require any sort of medical attention beyond the season?
Well, no, not that I'm aware of right now. Our players are going to do their exit physicals here through Zoom. And so we'll have a better idea probably at the end of the week, but nobody that I'm aware of right now that needs surgery.
Ian McIntyre.
Travis, you talked about the hunger of your group. This was kind of in a lot of ways, a breakthrough season for them. How important is it for the team to maintain that hunger and keep pushing to be better next year? Because we have seen in the past, some teams have a little breakthrough, and whether it's complacency or whatever, they have a hard time matching it the next year.
Well, it's important, Ian. I think that's, you don't just manufacture that. You have to have that within your group, within your culture. We've talked about that a lot, a burning desire to win. Obviously getting a taste of getting close to, almost halfway through is a good experience. But I've said it a lot. I think we got a group that wants to win badly. We've got players that are younger that still are going to get better and improve. And it's important for those young players to continue to develop, whether it's skill, conditioning, strength, mental focus, all different types of ways that you develop. And I think that's part of the exciting part of our group. They've got a strong desire to win. They'll do whatever it takes to win. They've shown that. And, they're going to continue to develop and get better. And we've been talking about that for, seems like a while in the city. And, you can't just stay the same. You've got to improve to get better and continue to improve every year.
Thomas Strantz, The Athletic.
Jim, in watching your club in the playoffs over the past month, is there anything you took away from the on-ice performance that maybe surprised you or that you learned about the group?
Well, I think, when our group was really committed, as they showed up for training camp, they came in, they had to come in early to do the quarantines and stuff. And I thought Travis and his staff did an excellent job, through training camp, getting them ready to play. I thought, we were way better defensively when we showed up in Edmonton. We may have allowed a lot of shots against, but they were from the outside. We took away second and third opportunities, from the high danger scoring areas of the ice. And I know Travis going into the training camp, he was focusing on that. And I think we seen it when the team played and, kept progressing. So the attention to detail, the back pressure, how hard our guys worked and competed when they didn't have the puck to get back and to defend. I thought, we've taken a step in that direction. And you look at the final 4 teams that are playing now, like they're all good defensive teams. So I think, that was a step that we took as a group and as a team.
Brennan Batchelor.
Jim, your thoughts on what you got from Tyler Toffoli? I know with the injury, you probably didn't have him play as many games for you as you would have hoped, but what did you think he gave you in his short time with your club this season, and where does his status sit with the organization heading into his free agency here in the summer?
Yeah, so he's a veteran player. He was supposed to, his injury was, he was supposed to be out for almost twice the amount of time, but he wanted to come back and play early and try to help the team win. I talked to Petey at the end there, and he said he really helped them, in the room, because he's been there, he's won a cup, helping settle our guys down, for games 5, 6, and 7, to go out there and relax and be excited about the opportunity that they were given to compete, to win games, to, further a series. So I think, he could have given us more, maybe from the scoring perspective. And that's what, when we traded him for, that's where we were hoping for. But then to realize, that he even was back playing so early with the injury he had, he was still good along the walls, went to the front of the net, played hard. But I just, I think he was hampered by playing a little bit hurt.
Ryan Kennedy, The Hockey News.
Hi, a question for Jim. How important will it be for some of your young blue line prospects like a Jack Rathbone or a Brogan Rafferty to push for jobs at the next training camp?
Well, they're going to be in the mix. We thought Ole Ulevi had a real good training camp here. Jalen Chatfield had a real good training camp. They could have played games for us if, we needed them. Ole ended up playing one game for us. I like the depth that we have on the blue line going forward. We got some good young defensemen that, are going to come to training camp and push for jobs.
Thomas Strantz.
Jim, when you heard the news today about the draft being moved up and then free agency to October 9th, just as you process being back at work after leaving the bubble, what's the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks going to look like, do you think, for your hockey operations department? How demanding will it be?
Yeah, well, we're going to, like I said earlier, we're going to do our end of the year meetings here this week with the coaches, with the hockey ops group, with ownership. And then from there, we're going to talk to other general managers, other teams in the league, kind of find out, the marketplace going into the draft and, through free agency. We have some decisions we have to make on players here going forward, and we're going to make those decisions and keep trying to move forward.
Patrick Johnston, Post Media.
Travis, looking back now at, the time you guys spent in the bubble, what ended up being the biggest positive in terms of driving your guys through it mentally? I think we saw some teams that maybe had a harder time. Seemed like you guys were a pretty solid, pretty together group. What was the most important aspect for you guys managing yourself through?
Well, there's probably a lot of them, Patrick, to be honest. Again, I probably appreciated some of the things a little more as time goes by here. It's still relatively fresh and you're trying to almost step away from it a bit right now, and then slowly get back into it and think about areas that you probably, would you have changed, would you have done better, and the areas that you made improvement. I think overall our guys, they really enjoyed hanging around with each other. It's an enjoyable group to coach. They're very coachable, and you use a word buy-in a lot. I think we had that throughout our group, where you really felt like there wasn't any weak links, more mentally than physically. And that makes you proud as a coach. They wanted to do whatever it took to win. I think their confidence also grew the longer they were in the bubble, which is important for a group, not only for the season, the playoff that you're playing in, but I think going forward with our group and having that belief that they've had in themselves be justified. They should be proud of how they played. but they should also be equally confident and have belief in the future, but also understand the work level that's needed and the commitment level needed to win at that level. And I think we have those elements within our team. And, I think to a player, they've learned a lot about themselves and their group, and they'll be excited to push forward.
Daniel Wagner, Glacier Media.
Hi, Travis.
Hey, Daniel.
Obviously, the bubble was a bit of an odd experience, but there was also the very unusual step that happened when the players protested for a couple of days as well.
Right.
Have you had some time to process that? I remember you said that you hoped it wouldn't end in talk, but would result in action. Is there anything that you can think of now that you as a coach and the players and the Canucks as an organization can do in terms of taking action based on what happened?
That's a good question. To be honest, I think it's important in society in general, not just with the Vancouver Canucks. I know our team has a desire, and they will push forward to be better in much like society should be, and help. I think the first process is educating, having awareness, and then taking action. And I'm confident within our group and our organization that will happen. So I think it was obviously a bold move by the players. And as a coach, you're going to support your players on actions that they take when it comes to racism. And, I think it's important that society in general continues to be better.
Jim Morris, CBC Sports.
Thank you. Jim, a lot of people are wondering the question, Thatcher Demko's play during the playoffs, how does that impact or work into the whole discussion of re-signing Jacob Markstrom?
Well, like I said earlier, it's nice to have two good goalies. We're going to, sit down, like I said, as a group, and we're going to talk about that some more this week. I talked to Jacob's agent yesterday, and, we would still, Jacob's an important guy in our group because he's a leader, and he was our MVP over the course of the regular season. So we're going to try to figure out a way, that makes sense for us and that makes Jacob and his agent happy to try to figure out a deal to get him signed. We want him back, and we're going to start working on that this week.
Gemma Karsten Smith, Canadian Press.
Sorry, I was talking into a muted mic. Travis, I'm wondering if you can talk about what the preparations are like for next season when you don't know when that season's going to start. You don't know if you'll be playing December 1st or if it won't be until 2021. How does that impact how you get ready as a coach?
Well, it will, as far as time frame and getting ready for training camp. But, like any season, when it ends, you do need to take a little time away and step away and clear your mind. We did that when the season was paused, and we got some positive work done after that, and we'll do the same thing now. We'll go back and think about how our team played well and things that we need to continue to get better at. And once next season is officially opened, or when dates, we'll be able to put a time to certain ideas that we have.
Joey Kenward, Sportsnet.
Hi, guys. Jim, you've been involved in the NHL draft for decades. I don't know if we'll be talking to you again before the draft, which is just under a month away. How different has been preparations for you and your scouting staff? And do you approach this draft any differently, knowing that teams haven't been able to do the usual physical fitness testing with prospects and even the face-to-face interviews that so many teams rely heavily on?
Yeah, well, Todd Harvey has been doing an excellent job for us. Having Zoom calls with our area scouts, working on the list. We've been part of those Zoom calls. We've done interviews now through Zoom calls. and they seem to be working out all right. We're not going to be able to do the fitness testing this year like we do in previous years. But, you know, I think we've had enough viewings of the players on the ice. We know the players that we want here going into the draft. And, you know, right now we don't have a first or second round pick. We'll have to see, you know, what happens here in this next month leading up to the draft, if we can try to recover a pick or picks. But I know he's doing an excellent job of communicating with their guys, and we'll be ready for the draft and to make good picks that, you know, players that we think are going to fit into what we're trying to do around here going forward.
Jay Janauer, Global BC.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. Jim, I'm curious about your philosophy, if it's changed at all with the game becoming so much faster, quicker, and younger when it comes to handing out term to players who are pushing 30 and or near 30. Has it changed at all in the last couple of seasons with the way that the game seems to be changing?
Well, I think, you know, we're seeing younger players now make a bigger impact earlier on in their careers. Like, you know, we have kids now that coming out of junior that seem to step right in, and, you know, they already play that NHL style game. So I think the transition is easier from, you know, junior college now into the pro game, because their skill sets are so good and they're so fast. You know, we have got a lot of good young players here going forward that we got to make sure that we have room, you know, to sign them going forward. So we're going to, you know, and those are going to be what the conversations are going to be like for us as a group this next week. We got to, you know, going to have to make some tough decisions, maybe even on some young players to, you know, to make sure that we give ourselves the best chance next year to be competitive and to keep growing as a franchise.
Ian McIntyre, Sportsnet.
Jim, it seems, you know, in any year prior to this one, you could see daylight, you see improvement, and you would just continue to work to make your team better. But with the salary cap what it is and circumstances what they are, it seems like this could be a really challenging off season for you to try to maintain improvement. Do you think this could be your toughest or most challenging off season?
Well, I think it's the same for everybody, Ian. You know, there's a flat cap here for the next couple years. And we actually, you know, we have a lot of money to work with. We're going to just have to decide, you know, what players that we want to sign here going forward, and other players, you know, maybe we can move on and recover draft picks. So, you know, that's the circle of life in our business. And, you know, we're going to be the same as every other team. They're going to try to figure out ways to make their teams better, and given the circumstances that we're dealing with right now.
Patrick Johnston, Post Media.
Jim, in looking at the bigger picture, obviously economics is a challenge, I think, perhaps for some other teams. Do you imagine there's going to be more movement in this coming off season because of the realities of COVID and the impact it's having on some other teams' bottom line?
I don't really know how, you know, to answer that question right now, Patrick. We'll just have to wait and see as, you know, we move forward here, and, you know, even with unrestricted free agency and, you know, the direction that teams are getting from, you know, their ownership groups. You know, that's something that as we move forward, we'll just have to wait and see how it all turns out. But, you know, every team's going to be different. I know that. And like I've said, our ownership's always been very supportive of what we're trying to do, and have let us, you know, spend to the cap to give our group the best chance they can to be successful. So, but we'll, you know, we're going to have meetings, and we'll sort all that out in the next week or so.
And we'll take a final question from Jeff Patterson, TSN 1040.
Travis, just with a few days now to reflect on the way the series with Vegas played out, and I'm talking about the final 3 games. I mean, Thatcher's story was incredible, but why do you think you guys weren't able to possess the puck or carry play more than you did? I think you got outshot by 72 in those 3 games. And was it the result of trying to play differently in front of Thatcher than you would have with Jacob in goal?
No, I don't think it was that. First, they're a good team. I think we felt like we were going to have to defend well against them, that they might, we felt like they probably are going to get more shots than us. Not that we openly said that to our group, but I think that team does get a lot of shots. They're known for that. They're high puck possession team, a big, fast team. I thought even the games that we got outshot badly, we did a fairly good job of limiting the high danger plays. They still got some for sure. And I'm not sitting here saying that we didn't get outplayed in certain parts of it. But sometimes in playoff hockey, you might get outplayed and you find a way to win. And that says a lot about your group as well. And I'm not going to sit here and complain about wins in games 5 and 6 that we won. I'm never going to apologize for it or think twice about it. Will we go and analyze our team? Of course we will. And again, I'm proud of our group. I think they did an amazing job and put a lot of life back into the city. Just being back for a few days, I can really see how excited people are around town about our group. And that's exciting because that's what you want in a city as passionate as Vancouver. Not just the city, but the province. And I think it's a sign of a lot of great things to come to the organization.